Hi there, my name is Megan Phillips, and if we haven't met before, I am a former public school teacher turned homeschool mom, and I share a little bit about our homeschool journey here on my YouTube channel. I also share on Instagram and Homeschool 101, and I host some of my free planning principles on my blog. But what I want to talk to you about today is homeschooling a child with special needs. If you are new to homeschooling or looking into it for the fall, I know how overwhelming it can be. There's so much information, so many choices, so many options, so many people to listen to. It can be totally overwhelming. And then you add on top of that a child that might need assistance or might need some extra support in an area, and it just makes it that much more overwhelming. But I'm here to tell you that it can be done, and it can be done well, and you can give your child the things that they need to be successful. So when I was a public school teacher, I taught mostly middle school and high school, but I dealt with kids that had a wide range of IEPs and 504s and different plans. So I was used to working in that realm at that level. But when I started homeschooling, I am working now with my daughter who is 5.5, almost 6, who has some developmental delays and some special needs. We've never received a diagnosis for her, despite lots of testing and doctor's appointments, and the gamut of things that you can do. We've done all of those things, and the only thing that we've really ever received is a global developmental delay. So we've used physical therapy, occupational therapy, and speech therapy through our local education association. We've utilized those things since before she was a year old until she was about 4.5 years old. And we're currently utilizing a private occupational therapy session for her. And we've seen a lot of improvement, but we know that things are just always going to take extra time, whether it's walking or eating or talking or fine motor skills for handwriting. I know that reading is going to be the same way. It's just going to take time, and we're just going to work at her level. And that's my biggest encouragement to you, is to work at your child's level, wherever they're at, and to watch their cues. You know your child best. You know when they're tired or when they're hungry or when they're having a bad day, and you don't have to push them through something if it's going to make everybody miserable. So I always am really good about trying to choose her school time when I know she's going to be most alert, when she's really excited about doing something, and then I really watch her cues for I'm done. And when she's done, we're done. That's all there is to it. There's nothing magical about pushing her further if it's something that's just going to frustrate her. So I wanted to share a little bit with what we're using at the very beginning stages of learning, and then give you some other options and some resources. So what we're utilizing with her to start off with is from a program called The Good and the Beautiful, a curriculum called The Good and the Beautiful, and I don't work for them. I'm not affiliated with them. I actually found out about them from a comment on another YouTube video that I did several years ago. And I looked into it, and I've used varying pieces of their curriculum with my kids kind of all across the spectrum. And this is something that's really, really good for her. So like I said earlier, she will be 6, and technically would be a kindergartner in the fall if you were going by age, grade, state requirements. But we are actually just starting to work through, this is called the PreK course book. There's a book that comes after this that's the primer, and then you would get to kind of their kindergarten course. This is really laid back, and it's really easy to go at her pace. And she's going to show you a game here in a second that she really likes. So a sample page of this would be one lesson. They are writing a letter, a lowercase or an uppercase letter. You talk about the sound that the letter makes. There's only a few things to trace. So if she's not into tracing that day, or she's just, the fine motor skills are not there, it's okay. There's only a couple. We can try it, and if it doesn't work well that day, that's totally fine. Then down here, she was circling the letter B's, coloring pictures that started with the F sound. And on the back, then for this day, we were talking about money. And so we were talking about pennies, and so we put the pennies in the pig, and then we turned it sideways, and we moved our pennies from the capital A to the lowercase a to the B, or the red letter, or the yellow letter, or the blue letter, and it gives you directions. It's all scripted right here. If you're worried about what to say, it's all here. And you can do it exactly as written. You can also change things up to fit your child. If there's a day that she wants to trace in marker, that's fine. If she wants to trace in pencil, that's fine. If she wants to trace in colored pencil, that's fine. It doesn't matter to me if she's practicing and she's excited about it and she's getting those skills, just a little bit at a time. The other thing I know that she wanted to show you, I'll see if I can find it really quick. We just did a lesson. Was it the cupcake lesson, Hanny?
Yeah.
Yes. Here's a review lesson for cupcakes. And so you start and you're supposed to move your little marker and they say the letter name, or they tell you if it's a capital or a lowercase, or they tell you the letter sound, whatever works, whatever your child needs practice with. And I think it tells you what that you can use. Sometimes it tells you what to use. What we usually use is a chocolate chip. And she puts a chocolate chip on each letter and we go through, and then at the end she gets to eat them and we have a little treat. Or you could be a little healthier and do, raisins or whatever it is that works for your child, or goldfish crackers or something like that, just to make it fun and a little more interactive and just give them that extra boost of, I can do this, it's a visual, they can see that they're all filled up, and then they get this reward at the end. So choose things that you know that your child likes. You know what's gonna be an encouragement to them. The other thing that we really like that would be a good thing to use with this, these are little mini erasers from the dollar spot at Target. And this is a set I just got that is ice cream. There's little ice cream cones. And I just keep them in a little supply box. And so these are perfect too if you're doing something like that. They can set the little eraser on the letter, and that can be their little marker too. So sometimes these fun little things, for $1, I can switch it up. We have different seasonal ones, and it's just oh look, something new, something different. You get done and then you can sort these. Can you sort all the red ice cream cones, and can you sort all the green ice cream cones? Anything that she can kind of pick up and manipulate and do is good for those fine motor skills, and it just gives her something extra and something special to do. The other thing that I like about this pre-K curriculum from The Good and the Beautiful is it comes with lots of review games. It's broken down into sections, and you are practicing different letters. So when you get through, then it has always a cute little game, like this one is Feed the Elephants. And it comes with the little elephant, and you cut a little hole in his trunk, and then we're gonna feed him the peanuts. And so all of this you can purchase directly from them, or you can get the little PDFs. Can you find one that you know? Do you know what that one is? What's that top one? A. What sound does the A make?
Apple.
Apple. Good job. Can you feed the elephant? Good job. And then you can use the review games that go with it. If this is something that your child likes to do and they like hands-on activities, this is great. Or you can get up and you can, if you need to move a little bit, you can put your peanuts around the room and they can walk and get them, or they can jump, or they can crawl, or whatever it is to find all of the different letters. They can pick out ones that they know, or you can ask them to go find one. How about, this is a tricky one. Do you know that one?
B. A lowercase b.
No, it's a
D.
D. Yeah, it has a diaper. What does D say?
Diaper.
Yes, good job. Can you feed it to the elephant? Whoa. And this just helps to reinforce those letters that they are learning. And it's just a fun way to get that extra little bit of practice in. Okay, do you want to take it over and you can keep feeding your elephant? Here, take your egg too. Good job. And so that is the main thing that I'm working with her on right now. I want her to start the letter recognition, practice the fine motor skills. There's also cutting activities in here. I'm sure I won't be able to find one right now, but there's different things where they can cut things out. Here's one. They practice cutting out, and then they have to glue the pictures in order, first, second, third. You're talking about orders. This covers letter recognition. It covers a little bit of math concepts. It covers some of those fine motor skills. So this is a super great one that has just worked really well for us. Which brings me to my next point is it's important to find what works for your family. I can tell you this works for us. Your friend can tell you what works for them. You can look up somebody else on YouTube and they can tell you what works for them. But the most important thing is finding what works for you and what works for your child. Is it something that they're excited about? Is it something that they're going to be wanting to do when you pull the book out? That's what you want to look for when you're giving those extra supports. I mentioned in here So this is the main thing I focus on with her. On days that she wants to do some extra handwriting practice, I have 2 different levels from the Good and the Beautiful of their handwriting. I purchased the PDF of this and then I print it myself. That way, if there's a day that she goes through it and she gets done and it's like that was not really what we were going for, I can just reprint another page. It's not a big deal. So we focus on certain letters, and so I buy the PDF of these. There's one that is the level K that focuses more. This is one of her recent ones. So I print them and just staple them together, and she just does a little chunk at a time as often as she wants to. So this one focuses more on letter formation of the actual letters. Before she got to this, when we very first started off, we used actually their handwriting for littles, which is a purple book. It's doodles and pre-writing, and this is just different lines, shapes, moving up and down, just very basic fine motor to get them to kind of trace and write on the lines and things like that. So this is what we're using, and my biggest things with her are being consistent and doing little manageable chunks that I feel like we're making progress, but I'm not overwhelming her or stressing her out. So find the curriculum that works for your family. Find those little things, whether it's a little snacky thing or whether it's something like the little erasers or some other little reward. Find the things that are going to help motivate your child, and then work in chunks that fit them and what they need. Watch those cues. When they get really tired, take a break, run around, go outside for a few minutes, eat lunch, regroup, whatever it is that you need to do so that you can get them when they're at their best as much as you can, especially when you're first starting out. So that would be my biggest encouragement to you. And also just that you know your child best. You know all those little things about them. You know the things that they like to do. If they want to lay on their blanket or have their stuffy while they're working or whatever it is. And when you're in your own home, you can do those things. You can give them those things that make them comfortable and are going to help get that best work from them. So if you are new to homeschooling or considering homeschooling, welcome to the chaos and the craziness. We've been homeschooling for we'll be starting our 6th year, and it's the best crazy decision that we ever made for our family. And so take the overwhelm and pick out the things that you need and start and change and adapt as you go along, and it's totally okay. We're all doing the same thing, and I wish you the best of luck. If there's anything that I can do to help or any questions that I can answer for you, you can leave a comment below or check out one of my other resources. If there's something there that's helpful for you, by all means, please use that resource, and I just wish you the best of luck. Happy homeschooling.